Alright, first off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the laws of great men stone who rule well. Shalom to the brothers and highways and byways pushing this word now, sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps, Shalom. This is the brother Irawam from a James Jamaica camp. Come with another quick lesson. And the inspiration of this lesson is from this scripture right here, Hebrews 11 and 27. I'll make this real quick, but there's something that popped out at me, right? I'll read it. It says, by faith he forsook Egypt, he being Moses, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured, as seeing him who is invisible. All right, and it says, as seeing him who is invisible, referring to the Most High. And a lot of times, you have unbelievers, you have atheists, and even some Christians are those that tend to try to challenge the scripture, ask, how is it that you see God? Or they say that, we can't see the Most High, but, if you're, if you know the Most High, if you're acquainted with Him, if of course, obviously we can't find out the Most High, but if you've been blessed with the understanding of the scriptures, and you have a personal relationship with Yahweh Shem Shai, then technically, we have seen the Most High, and I'm actually gonna show you this definition, right? So when you look up the word as seeing the Most High, let's click on seeing. Right now, obviously, it says the first definition says to see with the eyes. Obviously, that's not the seeing that we're referring to, right? It says to see with the mind, to perceive, to know. Exactly, we see with the mind, and we know the Most High. Now it says to see, that is the third definition, become acquainted with by experience, to experience. We have been acquainted with the Most High through experience. We have many. If you're in this truth, and you're saying that you have not had an experience with Yahweh Shem Shai, then obviously you're not in the truth. If you can't think of a time when Yahweh Shem Shai came through for you, if you can't think of a time when Yahweh Shem Shai, showed you things and has guided you, if you're saying that you don't feel that acquaintance and the experience with Yahweh Shem Shai for yourself, if you don't have that personal relationship with Yahweh Shem Shai, then hey, you need to pray for that, because that would mean that something is wrong. You should be experiencing the Most High every day. If you're within the Spirit, even on your down times, even when, you're being punished, or you're in affliction, or whether it's a case that you're something came through for you, or even when you go off, that level of fear and feeling of remorse and guilt, and begging for forgiveness, or when you're in a sticky situation and you're praying to be delivered from it, or even when something works out for you, and you thank Yahweh Shem Shai, because that they're the ones that that pulled you through. If you haven't had any of those experiences, then clearly you haven't seen the Most High. It's not about it's not a seen with bodily eyes. It's not about saying that, oh, he looks like this or that, as the definition in 3 I think gives the best definition of it, or the best expression of it. It says to become acquainted with by experience, to experience. All right. 4 has a good point at 8. It says to take heed, beware. B also is good. It says to care for, pay heed to. We care for Yahweh Shem Shai. We give these spiritual sacrifices. We take heed to the word of Yahweh Shem Shai. That's also us experiencing Yahweh Shem Shai. We've seen the results of taking heed to the word, and we also see the results of not taking heed to the word as well. We're actually experiencing Yahweh Shem Shai through the understanding of these scriptures. That's how we see the Most High. It's not from a carnal standpoint, right? It says, I was seen, showed off, appeared, and pretty much, if you're going to think about this carnally, of course, the scriptures also gives us a description. White woolly hair. His feet. He's pretty much dark skinned. If when you think about you know, how do I put it? Well, technically straightforward. The description, but I'm actually looking for a term. Pretty much, in these visions when he's being depicted, you know, and a description is given. Yes, we are told of a feature, and we also know that Yahweh Shai actually, looked like the Most High, you know, and we have a description for how Yahweh Shai looked as well. But outside of you know the aspects that would give an idea of a physical description, which you cannot fully see the Most High or look upon the Most High, because His glory is so great, and it would be, you would die, you know and at best, if you should survive, you'll definitely be blind, you know so you can't, no one can truly look up on the Most High as He is. But in regards to from a spiritual standpoint, we definitely, if you're in the spirit, then you actually have seen Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. We know what He's like. That is why we go out down the highways and the byways, and we say that don't do this, or the Most High is going to do that. Don't do that, or the Most High is going to do that. The Most High wouldn't be pleased with this. Yahweh wouldn't be pleased with that. Yahweh Hashem Yahshai wouldn't be pleased with this. Yahweh Hashem Yahshai wouldn't be pleased with that. We are able to tell about His character. We are able to tell, what makes Him happy. We can tell what makes Him angry. Even things regarding him feeling remorseful. Even with the state. There's a scripture, I think it's in Jeremiah, where it pretty much the I think the similitude that the Lord gave, or it was Isaiah, one out of two of them, where it was saying that he's actually striking us with a heavy heart, so we see the tender mercies of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. We can tell that he actually loves Israel a lot. We see the love inside. We see the side where he's angry about something, things that he hates. We can tell you about Yahweh Hashem Yahushai because we know Him, and we have seen Him through the Spirit. We have seen Him. All right. Now I'll read two more precepts and I'm out. Don't want to be rambling. This is 2 Corinthians 2 verse 5. Well, verse 7 rather. It says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." There's a carnal aspect to things, and there's a spiritual aspect. Most High, is a spirit. Yeah, the Lord is a spirit, but the Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, well, Yahweh Shai dwells is in the spiritual world now, but He actually came in flesh. The Most High Yahweh, he flesh cannot contain Him. He's too great for that. But nonetheless, we have seen Him. All right, and then I'm going to give another precept. So okay, come on. Romans 1 and verse, I think it's verse 25, well, verse 20, right? It says, "For the invisible things of Him," the Him being the Most High Yahweh, "from the creation of the world are clearly seen." It says the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. But the point here is that we see the Most High power. We see the Lord through the things that He's created. When we see how the earth, the ecosystem, and how the earth operates. When we think about the heavens, with the sun, the moon, and the star, and the constellations, and the stars, and how everything works together, and how it all ties in, and the little intricacies of the ocean and all these things, and even us ourselves as humans. Through that we know that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is great, and through that we actually see him that he the level of wisdom, the level of power, the level of glory, As a matter of fact, let me just look on this word invisible right here. I didn't check it, because how is it that you see something that is invisible, right? Unseen, that which cannot be seen. Example, invisible. Let me see if it's the same thing in Hebrews. All right, it's the same Strong's from Hebrews. All right. Things that are made, being understood. Right, and this is the word understood. It says to perceive with the mind, to understand, to have understanding, to think upon, heed, ponder, consider. So through these things we consider Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and through these things we see him. Not through any one thing to say that the sun is the Most High, or the moon, or the planet, or us, whatever. Through the creation, we see him. I hope this is actually making sense. Even his eternal power and Godhead. Exactly. He has great power. Let me just check on eternal power and Godhead, and I'll close out right there. Eternal, everlasting, cool, power. And notice the word right there. It says dynamis. It reminds me of the word dynamic.
Strong's G 1411. Dunamis.
Strength, power, ability, the inherent power residing in a thing by virtue of its nature, or which a person or thing exerts and put forth. Power of performing miracles, moral power and excellence of soul, the power and influence which belongs to riches and wealth, power and resources arising from numbers, power consisting in or resting upon armies, forces, host. All of that right there is pretty much describing various aspects of Yahweh, of the Most High Yahweh. And he's also given his son power over the whole entire earth, all of creation, pretty much, right? He said that he put all things underneath his feet, and we of the hopeful elect, what we'll be getting is a part of that. We will be inheriting, being joint heirs. We will be inheriting that power as well. All right, now this is the Theos Greek Lexicon. We can actually read through this whenever you have the time. Down here it says force, effective, often oppressive power, exhibited in selves in single deeds of violence, power, natural ability, general and inherent. All right, so it also goes into what authority, who has the ultimate authority, might, right, relative and manifested power. So you can read through these various topics to get more details. Usually there's a lot of details on here, but we see the mercies of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. We see not the mercies, well, mercies is a part of it, but we see the right here, right? It says the divinity, divine nature of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, right? Definitely see his divine nature through the experiences that we have had, and also through the things that we have seen that he has created to observing the creation itself. So we see the invisible things of the Most High, from the things that we have seen and that he has created from the beginning. All right. So with that, hope this was edifying. Once more, I give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the brothers in the highways and byways pushing this word in all sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps, the hopeful elect. Shalom.